and the trusts around the world. Be blessed, be blessed, be blessed. We shall not hurt anyone in body, mind, or soul. We shall help those who are hurt. We shall not hurt anyone in body, mind, or soul. We shall help those who are hurt. We shall not hurt anyone in body, mind, or soul. We shall help those who are hurt. May the whole world live in peace, prosperity, and harmony. World Prayer. May the leaders of every nation intuitively attain divine realizations. The boundaries of all nations guarded by a force common to every country. May all men live without rancor or fear, working for a living, all wars disappear. May the people all over the world find lasting peace which fills their mind. Rain blessing. May there be rainfall in adequate strength so that lakes, ponds, wells, and rivers are filled to the brim. May people live in prosperity through ennoblement of character. May there be rainfall in adequate strength so that lakes, ponds, wells, and rivers are filled to the brim. May people live in prosperity through ennoblement of character. May there be rainfall in adequate strength so that lakes, ponds, wells, and rivers are filled to the brim. May people live in prosperity through ennoblement of character. May peace prevail within us. May peace prevail around us. May peace prevail all over the world. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Peace, peace, peace. Rub your palms gently together, place them over your eyes, and then gently wipe the face with the palms. Raise the hands over your head. Take a gentle, deep breath and release it. Bring the hands down sideways. Open your eyes gently and look at your palms and bless your Guru and bless all the people who are meditating along with you. Be blessed by the Divine.
வாழ்க வளமுடன். Be blessed by the Divine. May the whole world enjoy prosperity, happiness, and peace. Today, May 10th, Sunday, we are very happy to welcome all of you to this spiritual evening session in English, organized by World Community Service Center, IT team. Speaker for today's session is well known to all of us, an engineer from CIT, specialized education on executive from Harvard Business School, astrologer, Vastu expert, TED speaker, celebrity spiritual speaker, created awareness about simplified Kundalini Yoga, over 900 plus videos, headed IT firms in his career, successful entrepreneur, doing several charity works, transformed the functioning of IT activities of WCSC, popularized Kai Yoga amongst non-Tamil public in a grand way. The list goes on. Yes, you are all right. It's Professor Krishmurli Ishwar, our Director IT WCSC. Having initiated into Sky System by Swamiji in 1984, his association with WCSC is growing day by day. Today, on very interesting topic, ancient Siddha secret, Kayakalpa Yoga. Yes, we are all ready. Professor, வாழ்க வளமுடன்.
வாழ்க வளமுடன். Be blessed by the Divine. Ancient Siddha secret, Kayakalpa Yoga. Our Swamiji has gifted to us this ancient Siddha secret yoga that was unknown for centuries to human beings. Perhaps I should say it was hidden away from public eye and was only passed on word of mouth from Shishya to Shishya over generations. Therefore, it remained a secret. By sublimating and recycling the sexual vital fluid, Kayakalpa frees you from a variety of earthbound ills, and fear of death withers in the effulgence of wisdom. Yogiraj Sri Vedatri Maharishi. Let me introduce you to Kayakalpa Yoga. For centuries, both scientists and philosophers have been researching into three important questions. Why do we fall sick? Why do we age? and why do we die? Kayakalpa Yoga offers a view into this subject and to find answers for these questions in a logical and a systematic manner. What is Kayakalpa Yoga? Kaya is body, Kalpa is immortality. Therefore, Kaya Kalpa Yoga is body immortality yoga. There are three main functions for Kaya Kalpa Yoga. How do we withstand the aging process? And how do we maintain health and youthfulness? And can we postpone our death to suit our own wishes? These are the three main functions of Kaya Kalpa Yoga. The science of Kaya Kalpa Yoga involves 5 dimensions: the body, the life force, the biomagnetism, mind, and not the least, but the best of these 5, the sexual vital fluid or ojas. The physical body, as you all know, is made up of zillions of tiny little cells of various types: flesh, blood, bone, marrow, etc. If you take the brain, for instance, the brain is made up of 8 billion, around 800 crore neuron cells. So just imagine the remaining part of the body. Just for you to understand, the brain is only 2% of the mass of the body. So if you are about 70 kilograms, if you weigh the brain, it will be 1.4 kilograms. About 1.5 kilograms will be the size of an average adult brain. But that 1.5 kilogram brain contains 8 billion neuron cells. So can you imagine how many cells our body must be having from head to toe? What are these cells? Each cell is a smart city, is a laboratory by itself. It has its own service connections. It has electricity connections. It has water connections. It has magnetic connections. It has heat connections. And it has air connections. Ventilation is also there for each cell. It has its own effluent network. A cell produces what it needs within the cell itself and what it does not require, each cell must excrete. And it also has certain storage elements. Mitochondria, for instance, is the power plant for the cell. When the body does not have food, then the mitochondria burns the fat around the cell and uses that energy for survival. So recycling plant is also an integral element of each and every cell in our body. But then a dead body also has cells. How is it that a living body is able to draw what it needs and eliminate what it does not need? The answer is the magical, invisible, inexplainable, imperceivable biomagnetism or biomagnetic force. It is this biomagnetic force that powers each and every cell from head to toe to draw what it needs and eliminate what it does not need. And this biomagnetism maintains the polar attraction between the cells. Look, there is nothing in the body that prevents the body from disintegrating itself. There is nothing visible. There is no Fevicol. There is no glue. There is no gum. There is no bandage that has been put for the body. There is no rope that is tying the body from head to toe. The only thing that prevents the disintegration of a living body is this biomagnetism. I hope now you have understood the importance of biomagnetism. If this biomagnetism is not maintained in sufficient quantity and in sufficient intensity, which otherwise is the quality of the biomagnetism, then the polar attraction between the cells are disturbed. When the attractions are disturbed, the cells will drift apart. And when the cells drift apart, eventually the integrity of the body is broken and we actually become one with the earth. And this process is the actual process that happens to the human body after our soul departs from this body. The biomagnetism is depleted from the body. The particles that produce the biomagnetism depart from the body, and therefore the centrifugal force called as the life force is no more powering the biomagnetism, allowing the disintegration. As long as there is sufficient biomagnetism in the body, it will prevent disintegration of the body. This biomagnetism spreads throughout the body. It emanates from a self-revolving centrifugal force of an infinitesimal energy particle, otherwise called as the ether particle. And this ether particle is the fundamental energy particle, the magnetism. And when this biomagnetism exists throughout the body, we feel fine, we feel energetic. I hope you have understood that the biomagnetism is the main fuel for the body. Complete detail of each one of these topics is given in a total workshop that is conducted over 3 to 4 hours period in our Sky Yoga centers. Today, I'm only going to give you a brief overview of the importance of Kayakalpa Yoga and what is Kayakalpa Yoga and the science and the philosophy behind it. The role of biomagnetism is not well understood by both scientists and philosophers. However, today, doctors have come to a conclusion that of the available energy within the body, brain uses, even though the brain is only 2% of the body mass, it consumes 25% of the biomagnetism. 75% goes for the bodily metabolic functions, of which there are 3 main metabolic routines that consume maximum amount of this biomagnetic energy: digestion, nutrition, and elimination. I would like you to memorize this because I'm going to keep referring to this again and again. The food that we put into our body gets digested right from our tongue through the alimentary canal, down the food digestion system to the stomach and the intestines, and gets converted over a period of time into juice. If you have liquid diet, it could take about 45 minutes or so to convert itself into juice. If you eat anything solid, that could take about 3 to 4 hours. Of course, if you fry items, if you have cheese and paneer, it could even take about 1 week for your stomach system to digest it. And in the process, undigested food may get fermented, which is why if you abuse your digestive system today, you might fall sick 3 days later or even 1 week later. A portion of the food alone gets converted into juice. The remaining portion comes out as waste materials from the body. A portion of the juice becomes blood. This process could also take several hours. Not a single laboratory in the world is able to convert juice into blood till today. But Mother Nature converts juice into blood every minute in every living. It is a miracle of the greatest miracles that mesmerizes people like us. A portion of the blood becomes flesh. A portion of the flesh becomes fat. A portion of the fat becomes bone. A portion of the bone becomes marrow. A portion of the marrow becomes vital fluid. The brain is full of marrow. Therefore, this vital fluid gets converted or transformed in the brain for children. And eventually, as we age, the same process sets in, and our brain continues to convert a portion of itself into vital fluid in the cerebrospinal area. This is called as the OJS fluid or the sexual vital fluid, of which I will talk in a minute. Sufficient intensity of biomagnetism maintains the inner core temperature. Friends, remember that human beings are not cold blooded animals. We are not like polar bear and penguin. We can't go live in Arctic without wearing proper warm clothing. We are warm blooded animals, or we have Mother Nature sustaining a constant inner core temperature within our body. And this maintenance is managed by biomagnetism. When the inner core temperature is beautifully maintained, sustained at the same level, then our body functions in a harmonious fashion. 75% of the biomagnetism goes for the body to sustain the inner core temperature, and that inner core temperature is sustained by the three main functions of each and every cell. I hope you remember what those three main functions are: digestion, absorptions of nutrition, and elimination of waste. That's good. If you remember it, give yourself a pat in the back. But 25% of the biomagnetism goes for brain cells. The brain requires enormous amount of power, but we do not have sufficient power to power each and every cell in our brain. The brain has 8 to 9 billion neurons, about 8.6 billion neurons to be precise, as an average adult brain, with which we can enjoy, reflect, imprint, calculate, compare, feel, understand, analyze, comprehend, cognize, discriminate, choose the right over wrong, build virtuous way of living, succeed, and remain happy in our life. For all of those feelings, all of those actions, the brain has to function really well. But the brain is only the functional center. What really happens in that functional center is called as the mind. Mind is everywhere, but its functional center is the brain. I hope you now understand the difference between the mind and the brain. Without the brain, mind cannot work. But brain alone is not the only place where the mind works. The brain is required. Only then the mind will function. But the mind can travel everywhere. The mind can function throughout the body. And for this, biomagnetism is imperative. It is hugely important. Without sufficient quantum of biomagnetism, the brain cells cannot power itself and be healthy. Biomagnetism supplies mind. Low biomagnetism for the brain means short supply to the mind. When there is short supply to the mind, automatically there is low alertness, heavy eyelids, and therefore we fall asleep. Our entire body is hardwired by Mother Nature to give priority for the body to remain alert and healthy. Brain has a function. With the use of biomagnetism, the brain governs both the autonomous functions such as breathing, heart rate, digestion, etc., and non-autonomous function, voluntary actions such as moving our hand, talking, or listening to music, writing, walking, running, jogging, washing vessels, and using our Facebook and Twitter, and so on and so forth. These are all voluntary actions. So both involuntary actions, autonomous functions, that is, and voluntary actions are governed by the brain. But the brain is told by Mother Nature, you are second priority to me. First priority is the body. Body has to maintain itself. If there is less supply of biomagnetism for a human being, dear brain, you have been programmed by me to switch off. And this is what is called as sleep. I hope now you understand the next stage of how this biomagnetism controls our wakefulness, consciousness, mental function, alertness, and brain functions. When there is low biomagnetism, there is automatic disconnection that happens with the brain and we fall asleep. But when we fall asleep, there is recharge that happens in the body and in the brain. And when the level of recharge reaches the minimum required stock level, then there is due to the recharge of biomagnetism, intensity increases and we wake up. When we wake up, we actually should be jumping out of the bed. If you have had sufficient energy, if you have sufficient energy, if you possess sufficient energy in your body, and if you have not wasted it through all kinds of other unwanted or abusive or overusive activities, then certainly you will fall asleep and jump out of your bed on time and have only sufficient amount of sleep that'll keep you alert and energetic and happy and really be peaceful. But if there is not much sufficient biomagnetism, if there is obstruction of biomagnetism, both the case, if there is not sufficient biomagnetism, or if there is some kind of an obstruction of biomagnetic flow throughout the body, it could happen because of obstruction in heat, air, or fluid flow, or liquid flow, or blood flow. When there is obstruction or when there is a disturbance in any of these three circulations, then in that portion of the body, life force rushes and it attempts to heal, cure that portion of the body, because of which there is intense accumulation of life energy particles leading to a short circuit. Stagnation gets converted into a short circuited magnetic disruption, and therefore the polarity is disturbed, and the excess biomagnetic energy that gets produced in that part of the body overflows, and that overflowing of that energy is what we perceive as disturbance in that portion of the body. It is usually perceived by us as pain. But if this pain is there only for short period of time, you really don't bother too much about it. Pain comes, pain goes. You exercise, you change your diet, you meditate, or you apply some medicine, the pain goes away. But if this short circuit sustains itself over a longer period of time, the same pain becomes absence of ease, dis-ease, disease. When the same biomagnetic short circuit continues for a much longer period of time, and there is complete exhaustion of the biomagnetic energy from that portion of the body, then that particular organ dies. Because without the biomagnetic energy, cell cannot function in its three important dimensions. I hope you remember those three important functions. That's right. Digestion, nutrition, elimination. If these three functions are not sustained by each and every cell in the body, the cells begin to die, the organ begins to die. When one organ dies, related organs, organs that are connected to that organ, also begins to die one by one. And in the process, complete exhaustion takes place in the body. Death is the only eventuality. Let me now introduce you to the cerebrospinal vital fluid, which gets produced from the marrow cells within the brain. This is also sometimes called as the sexual vital fluid. Please permit me to help you understand why we call it the sexual vital fluid. But for all practical purposes, let us understand that this is actually a brain fluid. This is the cerebrospinal vital fluid. Look, cerebrospinal fluid contains a lot of liquids, a lot of elements within that particular liquid. But in our body, there are several glands. One such gland is the reproductory gland. The reproductory gland contains around itself several reproductory system organs. One such organ is the seminal vesicle. The seminal vesicle is a sac, it's a bag, which contains the prostrate liquid, contains other secretory be eliminated by the body. If body understands the excess fluid that gets accumulated in the seminal vesicle as if it is like urine, it is like stool, night soil that needs to come out of our body. It's like sweat, it's like carbon dioxide. The brain understands it like that. But where does that liquid produce from? The scientists have no clue of any connection between the brain and the sexual vital fluid in the prostate area, in the seminal vesicle area. But our guru has said that this vital fluid is present throughout the body. It is present in an intensified manner in the cerebrospinal area and in the reproductory system. Sufficient quantity, sufficient quality, meaning intensity. If this fluid is of thick character, thick quality, and if sufficient quantity of this is present within the body, especially in the cerebrospinal area, and in the reproductive system, then it contains, as a battery for the body, sufficient strength and character of our Kundalini Shakti or the life force, which in turn directly produces and maintains sufficient quality and quantity of biomagnetism in the body. If we have sufficient biomagnetism in the body, then our body remains healthy. When our body remains healthy, then there is sufficient energy to supply to our brain. Therefore, our mind also remains healthy. So let me say this whole thing again in a short, simple, easy to understand manner. Sexual vital fluid maintains life force energy. Life force maintains biomagnetism. Biomagnetism sustains the health of the body and the health of the mind. These elements, these five things: sexual vital fluid, life force, biomagnetism, health of the body, health of the mind, are completely integrated and interwoven, and it is a self-governing, self-sustaining system which is governed by Mother Nature. Swamiji called this as the almighty force which maintains this order of function with a precision and accuracy in the body, mind, and the So please understand that you are a miracle of miracles. I hope you can hear me now. Thank you. Thank you for unmuting me. So please understand that you are a miracle of miracles, because there is so many beautiful dimensions of our body which you perhaps have never understood or never even thought existed before today. Many of you have learned this Kayakalpa Yoga must today now appreciate and recall and remember for the rest of your life what a miracle you are and what a great gift you are having as a body. So therefore it becomes our duty to sustain, maintain the quality and the quantity of the cerebrospinal vital fluid, which also transforms itself into the sexual vital fluid. When this sexual vital fluid reduces in quantity or thins, as the case may be, due to excess usage or due to certain other chemical imbalances in the body, then it thins in quality. When the SVF reduces or it thins, life force lessens, biomagnetism depletes. Less supply therefore goes to the cells. The whole machinery called as the body slows down, and eventually it breaks down in the due course of time. Importance of sexual vital fluid therefore cannot be emphasized any more than what I have briefly told you about. And I hope it has gone in and seated firmly into your belief system that it is our duty to maintain the quality and the quantity and therefore the health of the body and health of the mind. Even a small child has this cerebrospinal fluid, just like a car. How a car comes out of a warehouse, 1 liter or half a liter of petrol or diesel is put into the car. Likewise, parents supply just a little bit of adequate stock of opening stock for the child so that the child can sustain for a few days. And then the child starts to drink the mother's milk, and sufficient quantum is steadily added to this particular stock, and the body grows, immunity develops. The physical maturity happens when around, let's say, 12 to 14 years time frame. And at that time, this vital fluid that started accumulating in the cerebrospinal area goes beyond what it can sustain itself. There is surplus SVF in stock that has to be evacuated. And therefore, nature drops that energy through the spine, drops that fluid through the spine, leaks it below to the sexual gland. And this process is called as the physical maturity. And as this fluid descends through the brain to the spine into the sexual gland, there is an urge that comes for this young adult to want to evacuate or leak this fluid from the body. And this is called as the sexual urge. And this is the result of the vital fluid in excess in the cerebrospinal area and the fluid thinning and going down. The thinning can happen, the coming down can happen, dropping down can happen due to various reasons. But at certain points of time, as the physical maturity occurs, this becomes a natural result. Maintaining the quantity and the quality of this fluid, therefore, becomes a primary responsibility of every young adult to an adult. From the age of 14, our Swamiji has suggested that we educate children, young adults, to take complete control of this process of descending the vital fluid down to the sexual gland and learn proper yogic techniques to manage this process. If you don't manage it, you will not be able to maintain health and there will be disruption of health in the process. After all, this quantum and quality sustains the life force, which sustains the biomagnetism, which sustains your physical health and mental health. There are 5 activities that are important for maintaining your health. What you eat, after all, what you eat becomes juice, blood, tissues, fat, bone, marrow, and vital fluid. The 7 dhatus, the 7 different salts, so called the salts in the body, are originating from what you eat. Second is what you work, how you use your body. Your body is designed to be working with nature, like a farmer, for instance. But not many of us are farmers today. And therefore, we must learn proper yogic exercises, particularly the ones recommended by our Guru, Yogiraj Sri Vedatri Maharishi, which has been systematized and given to us in the form of 7 into 7 set of simplified physical exercises to maintain heat, blood, air, life force, and magnetic circulation in each and every cell in the body from head to toe. Number 3, rest. We must rest adequately, we must rest on time, we must rest deeply so that our body maintains the harmony of these circulations within itself. Number 4, use of thought force. We should not neglect using the thought force, we must not overindulge in it, and we must not use it negatively to affect us or others. Number 5, which we have talked about, is the physical relationship. There again, we should learn and sustain ourselves with discipline and moderation. Discipline and moderation in food, work, rest, use of thought force, and sex maintains our health. This is where Kayakalpa Yoga offers a brilliant way by which we can sustain ourselves longer, live longer, remain healthy, remain youthful. So far, this secret has not been told or revealed and not prevalent throughout the world. But our Guru Yogiraj Sri Vedatri Maharishi has simplified the secret Siddha Yoga and offered it in a simple capsule for anyone above the age of 14 or after the physical maturity is attained to easily learn and safely practice it at the confines and the comforts of your own home. That's right. There is today no need for you to risk your life by going out during this lockdown period to learn Kayakalpa Yoga. You can learn this at the comfort of your own house. I will reveal how you can do that in a few minutes from now. This Kayakalpa Yoga comprises of two wonderful exercises. Number one, toning up of the nervous system. Let me tell you what that means. When the fluid descends from the brain through the spine to the seminal vesicle area, the seminal vesicle also contains a lot of other fluids. Interestingly, though, the nature and composition of the cerebrospinal fluid is precisely the same as that of the seminal fluid in the seminal vesicle. Aha! How is that possible? When the doctors say, when the scientists say there is no physical connection between the cerebrospinal fluid circuit, which they say is a closed loop. No, nothing goes in, nothing goes out. There's only some amount of fluid that exists in the human body, and it is in a closed loop in the cerebrospinal area. And there is no connection between the loop and the sexual gland. If there is no connection, how is it that the chemical and the physical composition of these two fluids are exactly the same? They're carbon copy, ditto. How is it possible? Scientists are yet to give a proper explanation of that, but our guru has already told us that this fluid from the head is actually descending down. But once it is descended down, it is important that we separate the vital portion of the fluid from the non-vital portion of the fluid. And that exercise is called as Ashwini Mudra. It is nothing but toning up of the nervous system. This exercise is a very simple exercise that is taught in all our Sky Yoga centers, and you can now learn it online as well. The second portion of Kayakalpa Yoga is recycling of the sexual vital fluid. What that means? It means that with a simple breathing and a muscular recycle, transmute the descended sexual fluid up the spine to where it originated from in your brain. Isn't that brilliant? After all, this ojas, this sexual vital fluid, is the fluid that gives a protective cover for each and every cell and each and every life force particle in our body. That protective layer, protective cover is what we understand as immunity. So when this recycling happens, when this toning up of the nervous system happens, immunity is raised to a remarkable level within the body. Swamiji has said, if Kayakalpa Yoga is learnt at schools and colleges by all young adults over the age of 14, the entire world will undergo a transformation and enjoy a harmonious and peaceful life by the improvement of physical and mental health and moral behavior. I am sure you agree with what Swamiji dreamt of. Let me just quickly walk you through the aging process. There are three questions that we began this presentation with. Why do we fall sick? For which we have already discussed a detailed answer. Why do we age? Which we are going to talk about. And why do we die? We will also see a newer dimension for as an answer for the third question as well. But now let's try to find an answer for the aging process. Why do we age? Why can't we just remain a youthful 18-year-old or a youthful 14-year-old all the time? Earth is a huge spinning ball. The surface, the circumference of this earth is about 25,000 miles. And it takes 24 hours approximately to go around its own axis. That means the earth is spinning at about approximately 1,000 miles an hour. At that heavy spin, heavier elements are drawn towards the center of the earth, and lighter elements are thrown away from the center of the earth. Centripetal and centrifugal force plays a scientists like to call it as the gravitational force. Our body can sustain itself for about 120 years in this planet from birth to death. For the first 0 to 40 years, called as the young age, there is strong velocity of the Kundalini Shakti, the life force, and therefore sufficient biomagnetism within the body that keeps us resistant to the gravitational pull of the earth. Therefore, our skin remains intact, our bones remain intact, our body remains hale and healthy. Six packs are easily possible for people who want to exercise, and so on and so forth. But during the middle age, 41 to 80 years, good maintenance of health is possible only if discipline and moderation is maintained in work, food, rest, use of thought force, and physical relationship. After 81 years, up to 120 years, life force rapidly declines and the physical body weakens as a result of this. The physical body is a heavier element. Our Kundalini Shakti, made up of either energy, life force particle, is lighter in nature. Therefore, when our physical body is thrown away from our center because of the pulling of the life force energy, gravitation pulls our body down, life force pulls our body up, pushes our body up. And when the life force is of sufficient velocity, our physical body grow up to about 6 feet due to the upward force of life energy. But it cannot escape this body. Once we start to age, our physical maturity stops, mental development takes place, the production of sexual vital fluid in the cerebrospinal area from the food into juice, into blood, into tissues, into fat, into bone, into marrow, into the fluid becomes less and less. Because of that, there is less quantum of life force, resulting in less quantum of biomagnetism. As the aging increases for us, life force is being reduced because of the secretion of the life force from the cerebrospinal area to the sexual gland and eventual evacuation of the fluid through various means. After 40 years, this surplus, which got accumulated from age 0 to age 40, particularly from age 14 to age 40, this surplus becomes reduced. There is less and less production of this vital fluid in the cerebrospinal area and throughout the body. But after 80, there is almost zero excess of this vital fluid because the body has stopped producing this seventh dhatu from the food that we eat. And because of which, the intensity of the life energy that we contain within ourselves begins to reduce. After all, life energy is made up of either energy particles that are being daily, and in fact, every moment is thrown away from the body due to the heavy spinning, huge, rapid spinning of our body. Gradually, all the nerves and muscles become loose and we become old. Our skin sags, our body can no more stand erect because there is less biomagnetic energy, less life force energy, less sexual vital fluid, cerebrospinal vital fluid in our body. I hope you now understand why we age. How do we withstand this process? Simple. The nervous system has to be toned up to counter the gravitational force, and we must conserve and increase the quality and the quantity of the container of the life force. And this is possible through those two exercises that we talked about during the course of this presentation as taught in our Kaya Kalpa Yoga, the secret Siddha exercise, which only takes a few minutes in the morning, a few minutes in the evening. The loss of vital fluid is gradually reduced, craving to excrete it diminishes, potency is preserved, thoughts do not astray to indulge, compulsive obsessive behavior is very easily overcome with this exercise. Death. One last question we have to find answer for. Today's medicine, today's science is still in the moment of death. But our Swamiji has explained that when the last quantum of the vital fluid is completely excreted from our body, death becomes a natural result because there is no container in the body to hold the life force. The vital fluid is the battery. The vital fluid is the container. When that has been wrecked and that has been damaged, there is no current. If there is no current, then the life energy depletes itself completely. Death becomes a result. However, if the vital fluid is conserved and solidified in the brain area, for such a person, death cannot come anywhere near that person. And this is why it is believed that in the ancient past, particularly in the Indian tradition, specifically in the South Indian tradition, and that too in the Tamilian Siddha tradition, many Siddhas believed to have been lived and living for hundreds of years. It is told by our Guru Yogira Sri Vethathiri Maharishi. Eventually, if we practice this, we can postpone our death to suit our own wishes. My wish is that many of you who are listening to this learn this Kayakalpa Yoga and sustain yourself as the enlightenment of consciousness, which is the very purpose of our birth, is achieved naturally and gradually through the practice of Kayakalpa Yoga, because this allows our sexual energy to be transmuted into spiritual energy by redirecting it, by transforming it, by realigning it from our sexual gland to the crown chakra, to the Sahasrara area, to the brain area. In the process, temperamental modes such as greed, anger, miserliness, immoral sexual passion, vengeance and vanity, kama, krodha, lobha, moga, madamacharya gets sublimated. Moral behavior and spiritual consciousness prevail, which will lead us towards happiness, peace, and welfare for all. Dear friend, yoga is a precious gift to mankind. Learn it. Today, you can learn this from kayakalpayoga.edu.in. That is kayakalpayoga.edu.in. Please go and visit that website. You can learn the theory of Kayakalpa Yoga for free. And you can upgrade yourself to a paid practice course. And our professors, certified by our Guru Yogira Sri Vethathiri Maharishi, await you. They will walk you through the practice. The concept of the practice as videos is available in our practice course in kayakalpayoga.edu.in. But if you have any doubts, any questions, and if you want to really learn the nuances of how to practice the toning up of the nervous system and the recycling of the vital fluid in various postures in the morning and evening, our professors, including me, are more than willing and happy to guide you in the process. Be blessed by the divine. Thank you so much. Thank you very much for being there inspiring me to do what I am doing. Thank you for this opportunity. வாழ்க வளமுடன். Be blessed by the divine.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for the excellent speech. It is highly informative. I am sure it would have helped all Sky Yoga aspirants to refresh the concept of Kayakalpa Yoga. Now the forum is open for discussions. Please click the raise hand button in your Zoom app to ask the question. While you get ready with the questions, we have some important announcements. Our monthly journal, Anbuli, is also available in Android app. Download the app, get access to the premium content of Swamiji's speeches. Connect with us on Facebook and YouTube at Sky Yoga TV to listen to all past speeches of our professors on the various aspects of Sky Yoga. As all you know, Karma Yoga principles of Vedatriyam suggest donating 1% of your income to the good causes of society. Be generous, donate to the World Community Service Center. There are multiple channels to do that, either through Anbuli app or our official website, vedatriya.edu.in. Just to mention, you would get Section 80G IT exemption as well. Now the forum is open for the Q&A. First, we are unmuting Janaki Arkat. Please go ahead with your question, ma'am.
Yes, sir. வாழ்க வளமுடன். My question is, what is the difference between sleeping and meditation?
Okay, during sleep, our brain goes into 4 stages in 2 categories of sleep. One is called as the REM sleep. Other one is called as the non-REM sleep. In REM sleep, that is, in rapid eye movement sleep, our brain begins to go from the active beta stage above 14 cycles per second to the high alpha state. And during the non-REM sleep, it goes into alpha and then even to high theta state. But in the process, the brain gets disconnected from the conscious awareness. Therefore, the mind doesn't really function in a conscious manner. Subconsciously, it is still functioning. In fact, during non-REM sleep state, if you are woken up, that is within about an hour of you going to bed, if somebody wakes you up, you will in fact say, I've just been lying down and I'm not really fast asleep. You know, I could hear noises. I understand why you are calling me. Okay, I'm awake, I'm aware. So that is because the subconscious mind is still listening. In fact, even during deep sleep, it listens, which is why if something amiss is happening in the house, or there is something which is puts you off very quickly, then you still jump out of the deep sleep and come up conscious. But during meditation, you go to that alpha state, you go to the theta state, and even go to the delta state of frequency without losing consciousness. But not every meditation is equal. There are 4 types of meditation that people talked about, and people continue to talk about them in particularly modern world. One is pratyagara techniques, transcendental techniques, techniques like use of breathing, pranayama, kriya, where you are only practicing withdrawal of your mind away from senses. Vipassana, for instance, remaining withdrawn from engaging with the sensual pleasures or engaging with your sound, for instance. Only just not bothering about anything, letting go of your mind. This is not dhyana, this is pratyagara. Second is called dharana, mantra techniques, pranayama techniques, idol worship, and or dot meditation, lamp meditation, or om gazing. So these are all dharana techniques where it only improves concentration. That's why they say, okay, I meditate every day because when I do one job, I do only that one job, which is great. That means you are concentrating, but that is not dhyana. Dhyana, which is the purest form of meditation, is Kundalini meditation, where your mind focuses on your own life force, gentle, feeble, beautiful pulsation in various chakras in the body. It is this meditation that helps you to go to the alpha frequency and then to theta and even down to delta frequency without losing consciousness, without losing awareness. வாழ்க வளமுடன்.
வாழ்க வளமுடன். Next, Mr. Krishnamurthy.
Thank you very much, sir. The speech was very excellent. Within a short period of 1 hour, you are able to cover the entire subject of Kayakalpa theory. I'm grateful to you. Sir, I need one clarification. Normally, the male partners are the donor and the female partners are the donor, and we are going to give the life to a person. Here, the doubt is, suppose if the sperm count is less, in the English book, it has been clearly given, if the sperm count is less, the gents has to practice only Ashwini Mudra without doing Ojja's breath in each and every position. Whereas in Tamil, it has said, only at the time of relationship between the wife and husband and wife, they are supposed to practice only Ashwini Mudra, that is, without doing Ashwini Mudra, they have to practice, they have to do Ashwini Mudra without doing Ojjas. Which is correct, sir? Can I have the clarification?
I have seen the latest English publication, and this, I'm not sure about the old one. The latest one, the Tamil and English, both are the same. The correct one is, if a man is suffering from low sperm count, could be because of it is a genetic thing, or could be an accidental thing, could be a defect in the reproductive system, or prostate related issues, any number of issues could be there whereby the sperm count can be low. If that is the case, then you must practice both the toning up of the nervous system and the recycling of the vital fluid in all postures, but do not practice the Ojja's breathing during copulation time if you want a child.
வாழ்க வளமுடன். Next, Mr. Arulnidhi Manikandan, we are unmuting you.
Sir, வாழ்க வளமுடன், sir. Your speech was some excellent, sir. Nowadays, some deaths are happening in the society to coronavirus or shortage of sexual vital fluid, sir. Answer, please, sir.
Coronavirus has got nothing to do with sexual vital fluid. Look, our body contains within itself millions, and not even millions, I will say billions and billions of viruses and bacteria. In fact, the COVID-19 variant of the coronavirus is new, but there are already 6 different types of coronavirus that has been existent in this world for several decades. In fact, your common cough and cold, running nose that you get is because of coronavirus only, but not this coronavirus. It is great-grandfather coronavirus. That's all. The difference is the virus is now what is now called as coronavirus is a novel coronavirus, COVID-19. Okay. That has got nothing to do with the sexual vital fluid. Please don't confuse yourself.
Next, Mr. Rajagopal Mohandas.
Sir, thank you very much, sir. Your illustrative and PowerPoint presentation made me understand the Kayakalpa. I am already having undergone so many times at Alia, but now only I come to understand your Kayakalpa, this one, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
வாழ்க வளமுடன். Would request a participant to come to the questions. Several questions are people have raised the hand. We are really running out of time. Now we are unmuting Mr. Saravanan SM, please.
Be blessed by the divine, sir. Kayakalpa.ud.in is having only the English content. Do we have in Tamil also, sir?
Very soon we will make it in Tamil. By the way, there is also an app. There is an Android app that is available on kayakalpayoga.edu.in. You can download it there. You can go to Google Play Store and download from there as well. We will soon make it available in all languages, sir.
Next, Mr. APT Shankar, Shiv Shankar Nainar. Okay, no answer from him. Now we are unmuting Arunakaran.
Yes. Very excellent presentation, sir. Lucid and excellent presentation. Really, all the point I have gathered. I have 3 questions, sir. First question is, you told about seminal vesicles and prostate. As I know, seminal vesicles and prostate are male sex organ. With reference to sexual vital fluid, this is common for both male and female. So that clarification, number 1. Number 2, during puberty, the cerebral spinal fluid used for the development of the somatic cells up to 14 years. After 50 years, the cerebral spinal fluid used for the development of germ cells. So in order to develop the secondary sexual characters, the SVF is regulating. So we have a andropause at the age after the age of 50, menopause after the age of 50, like that we have a lot of clarifications. Number 3, there is a
Sorry, sir.
hypothalamo-hypophyseal
Repeat your second
testicular
question.
axis as well as
Can you repeat the second question? I'm not sure.
so cerebral spinal fluid.
Arun-
Cerebral spinal fluid used for the development of the somatic cells up to 14 years.
Okay.
You are telling that it is converting into some other material. So I have a doubt of how the somatic cells and the germ cells, the start of secondary sexual characters. So how the seminal vesicle secretions is related with this sexual vital fluid? That is, I have some doubt.
I have no idea. Let me answer the second question first. I have no idea how it does. Science is yet to prove. Swamiji has made it very clear that it is this vital fluid in the cerebrospinal area that gets converted into sexual vital fluid. Therefore, the composition and the nature of both fluids are exactly the same. And he has made it very clear that someday science will prove this. For that matter,
Thank you.
for that matter, scientists and doctors don't even recognize the existence of life force or biomagnetism in the body. They say heart has stopped, therefore the person has died. Okay, I've answered your second question. First question I will answer. Give me the third question, please. Arunakaran, third question, please.
Are you there, Mr. Arunakaran?
Okay, let me answer his first question then. So he said that there is, what is the difference between the male and the female sexual systems as such? The seminal vesicle and the prostate is part of the male sexual gland. Well, that is true. The female sexual prostate is not called as prostate, but there exists a sac through which the seminal fluid gets secreted. It is very clearly proven that during the monthly menstruation process, women lose a portion of the vital fluid, which is why in our Kayakalpa yoga system, women are given certain special instructions to follow, especially during the recycling of the vital fluid, because the quantum of the vital fluid that exists in the reproductive system is not precisely the same as the one that is available in high intensity in a male reproductive system. Once again, I have no idea how these two fluids in the cerebrospinal area and in the seminal sac area is precisely the same composition. I have no idea, sir. Neither do scientists have any idea. In fact, scientists don't even agree with me. Many scientists and doctors have fought with Swamiji himself, and many people have fought with me also, saying that this is complete nonsense. But hey, it works. We have seen that this system is so powerful and functions so very well. In fact, yesterday I was on a call with a gentleman from United States, and he said that this single exercise has helped him to get out of sexual compulsions and sexual orientation problems. He was a straight guy for many years, but eventually, because of his pornography habit, he became a homosexual, and he realized that he did not enjoy being homosexual and that it was causing him a lot of agony and pain and problem. That's his experience, and he decided to get out of it. He came to us, learned Kayakalpa yoga. In fact, it is me who taught him Kayakalpa yoga. Within 3 months, He has completely moralized his behavior according to him, and he has given up all kinds of temptations. He has given up his compulsive behaviors. He is hale and healthy and peaceful. How does it work? No idea. I have no idea, but it works.
Thank you, Professor. Actually, there are several people, around 12 hands are raised. How
I have
long
some
we can-
time. If you would like to go
Okay,
ahead, we can do
great.
that.
Yeah, that's nice. Now we are unmuting Mr. Ajay Jain. Please go ahead with your question.
The session was flawless, awesome. I don't have any words to express how it was there. I don't have further words. My question is, where there is a stage called as Brahmanyanam, which I have not yet achieved or not have experienced so far. Is that the stage where we achieve ourselves in line with the God? And secondly, once we achieve that stage, do we have the power to see the evils in the world, or the violent powers or the devil powers in the world? How can we? Is that a stage where we can curtail them also? Yeah,
Naresh, you have to help me translate this question because I can understand the question at all. It was fading in and out.
Yeah, it was like, if I attend Brahmagyana, can I equate with a God, and can I identify the devil forces as well? If we attend Brahmagyana, yeah.
There is no difference between devil and God. There is no two different human beings or two different forces in this planet. Devil, as we define in our mind, is a mere characterization, personification of certain action reaction, cause and effect, certain behavior and trigger combinations. That's all it is. Otherwise, there is no devil in this world. There is in fact no God also. In the pure scientific form, we are comprised of body cells. We are comprised of ether energy particles. If you take a body cell, it is made up of molecules. If you take molecules, it is made up of atoms. Atoms are made up of electron, neutron, proton. If you take up of each of these subatomic energy particle, it is made up of infinitesimal energy particles. This is where science stops. Beyond this, philosophy takes over. Our Swamiji has explained that 99% of volume of each and every subatomic energy particle, in fact, each and every atom itself, is dark matter. This dark matter is the almighty force. It is this force which is plenum, inexhaustible, self-filling. It is present, omnipresent everywhere. It is omnipotent everywhere. It is omniscient. Therefore, it is all knowing, all conscious, super conscious. It is super transparent. It is self-compressive, surrounding pressure force, which is what we like to call it as God. If this is understood to be the almighty force and God, even devil is God only, no? What you call as devil, what we call as devil, what we imagine it to be devil is also God's creation. We just like to characterize these things, and we like to create shapes and forms, and we like to worship them, or we like to get afraid of them. We don't need to either worship, we don't need to either get afraid of these forces that we have imagined it to be. We just need to understand and surrender ourselves to this unfailing law of cause and effect, respect it, and moralize our behavior and not cause hurt to anybody, and to help those who are hurt. In that state, we are pure God personified. Therefore, you can certainly become a Brahmanyani. It is already programmed in your subconscious mind. You deserve it.
Thank you, sir. Now we are unmuting Sridhara Srinivasa. Please go ahead with your question.
It was a fantastic presentation, sir. So my question is that I've been practicing Kayakalpa Yoga for last 1 month, but I could not able to control my anger. So my question is that do I need to increase my cycle of Ashwini Mudra or Ojas?
No, Kayakalpa Yoga will not make you less angry. You have to practice neutralization of anger. See, anger comes because you have either gotten into a habit of getting angry, or because you have so many unfulfilled desires and huge expectations. You drop those expectations, you drop those unfulfilled desires, and you redirect your mind. Instead of getting anger, or if you're getting angry, instead of using anger as a tool, that you will use friendship, you will use tolerance, adjustment, sacrifice, humor as a tool to fulfill what you want to fulfill, then anger will go away. Kayakalpa yoga will not help you stop anger at all. It will increase your willpower. But for anger, you certainly need to learn meditation and introspection. Please learn it and practice from a Sky Yoga Center. Be blessed.
வாழ்க வளமுடன். Next is Srini Palani, UK. Are you there, sir? No response. We are moving to the next question. Mr. Rajesh, we are unmuting you.
Hello. Pranam Guruji. Just wanted to ask you one question, perhaps the second also. The question is about if the imbalance in the SVF and also the imbalance in chakra, is there any connection between these two? Is the imbalance of SVF causes the sickness and all the downfall or low in the magnetic force, or the chakra the factor, the imbalance in the chakras can cause that the sickness? Number two is that yes, you said we are all the programmed by our birth, they has a Brahmajnanis, and it is been in the epic by all our the ancient said Ham Brahmasmi. Everybody is Brahma in itself. But the why this the numbers of people who are attaining that has been reduced drastically in this yuga? Is it because of the yuga's impact, are the worst versus the earlier cycle where the people used to have that attainment at the larger number of attainment used to happen in those days?
Let me answer both the questions for you. On chakra imbalance, I request you to come back for the session by Professor Janaki Raman. He's going to talk about the 7 chakras. So please ask him this question again. I think the session is tomorrow, if I'm not wrong. Anyway, there will be an announcement. On the sexual vital fluid imbalance, certainly this is a problem. This triggers sickness in the body for sure. Of course, when the sickness is triggered in the body, there will be imbalances in various glands in the body, and Kayakalpa Yoga helps to regulate the proper functioning of the prostate, proper functioning of the sexual vital gland, proper functioning of the adrenal, proper functioning of the thyroid, proper functioning of the thymus and your pancreas, and also particularly it regulates the functioning of the pituitary and the pineal gland. So all the 7 glands are in fact streamlined and made harmoniously with become harmonious with the help of Kayakalpa Yoga. For sure, we have seen that as a case study in many aspirants body, but that alone is not sufficient to create balance in the body, and that alone is not the reason for the sickness. Sickness can come for any number of reasons. Chakra imbalance can also cause sickness in the body. I hope I have answered the first question. Why Siddhas have reduced? Why people who have self-realized souls have reduced? They're not reduced. They've certainly increased. We have now in our Sky Yoga system, millions of people who are learning this across the world and practicing this, who are realizing it. But since Swamiji has simplified it, we do not want to wear a Siddha robe and put Rudraksha and give poses and take videos and go around telling the world that we are Siddhas. We are just happy living what we are doing. We are followers of Vedatriyam. We have been told only 2 things we need to take care of. Do not hurt anybody, help those who are hurt. If we do these 2 things, we are going to fulfill the purpose of our birth. So we are happy doing only that. We are not interested in, doing some magical Siddha things and things like that. There are many professors and many senior people in our own Sky Yoga system who are self-realized, who are very peaceful, very quiet. Their families are peaceful, very healthy, very energetic, and doing great service. But they will not. They are not pretentious. They're not going to pose themselves as Siddhas. So don't get misled by such appearances.
வாழ்க வளமுடன். Now we are unmuting Bhupa. Bhupa Saifon, please go ahead with your question.
வாழ்க வளமுடன், Bhupat here. I have two questions. One is where mind resides. It is different from brain. So where mind resides. Number two, we acquire energy from earth, air around us, water, and the atmosphere. This is what I read somewhere in Vedatri Maharshi book. It's not only food. Am I right or wrong? Explanation is required. வாழ்க வளமுடன்.
The mind resides everywhere, but the central functioning center of the mind is the brain. So brain is the functional center of the mind. Mind, of course, is everywhere. When we do Duryatita meditation, we are actually taking the soul out of the body and we're traveling all the way up to the universal energy field and beyond, and bringing it back from there. If you take, for instance, the Panjabodha Navagraha meditation, the ninth center, so the 5 planet and the 5 elements and the 9 planet meditation, the farthest planet is 88 crore miles away, 880 million miles away from us, approximately 872 million miles away or something like that from us. So we're talking a distance which is incomprehensible, but we are able to travel with our soul to such heights and bring it back. So the mind is everywhere. Mind can travel in no time across the world and bring back information, and it can communicate with other people also. If you are in doubt, ask your mother. She will tell you that she has an instinctive understanding, intuitive understanding of what's going on in your mind. How does that work? Intuition works because mind travels. Waves travel. Mind acquires these waves and translate it into feelings and perceptions. So that's the answer for your first question. Of course, without the brain, mind cannot function. Second, yes, we acquire energy from all the 5 Buddhas, from Akash, which is our soul, which is our life force energy. We do that through a feedback mechanism of our meditation. Then through the air, we breathe, and therefore we absorb energy. Then we absorb energy from the heat from the sun, and from the center of the earth, there is atomic fission energy. Then water, of course, water is a great source of energy. Then food is also a great source of energy. All the 5 sources are important for us. The more we acquire Akash energy, better healthy we are. But we cannot ignore the earth energy, the food that comes from plants. We cannot ignore that. We cannot ignore water also. We need to have a fine balance. The more we consume life force energy, the less we will consume earth food energy.
வாழ்க வளமுடன். Now we are unmuting Suresh, CBE. Please go ahead.
வாழ்க வளமுடன் ஐயா. I have 2 questions. One is that
everybody has 2 or 3 questions today. Why?
That is while
Can
doing.
You restrict yourself to 1 question, please? Each one of you. There are about 7 people. I would like to cover all of them.
Oh, can I proceed with 2 or can I ask?
No, one please.
Only one, please.
The best one. What do you want to know?
Yes, okay. My one question is like I have been practicing this Kayakalpa yoga, and my doubt is, suppose before having food, if it is not possible to do the Ojas breath, can we do Ashwini Mudra alone?
Sure, you can. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next, Mr. Shivakumar.
Hello.
Yeah, please go ahead, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for your nice presentation. My question is, when the sexual vital fluid is expelled, what will be the correct time to continue the Kayakalpa yoga?
You can continue to do Kayakalpa yoga. See, during copulation, during physical intercourse with your loved one, with your married one, when the fluid comes out just before ejaculation, you should do, please check with a local sky master who taught you Kayakalpa yoga, and that person will be able to help you understand this properly. But you can continue doing other exercises. Supposing you have involved in a physical relationship today with your wife, And you can continue doing your exercises, do your meditation, do your Kayakalpa yoga from tomorrow morning as usual. There is nothing wrong in doing that. But you have specific question on a specific action that you want to do, you need to come on a private line and ask us this question. Thank you.
Mr. Vijay, please go ahead. Vijay A.
You need to unmute him.
Yeah, we did. Mr. Vijay, you have to unmute your end. We are trying to unmute you, but we couldn't.
Next,
Okay,
please.
now we are going to Mr. Ashish Kumar Sarkar. Please ask your question, sir.
After a long time. So, Varga Bolabudan, sir.
Varga Bolabudan, Ashish.
Sir, just one question around, related to sex only. That what I learned that ejaculation is bad, as we learned. My question is that while doing this sex, we do not want to ejaculate. Can we do the Ojas breath or Kayakalpa on that time to not to ejaculate?
That's not possible. Please ask this question in private. Thank you.
Okay.
Now, now we are unmuting Lakshmanan Subramanian, Bangalore.
I am Walid Valamadan.
Walid Valamadan.
This program is available on YouTube later stage if I want to re-listen to it.
Yes, live coverage is there.
Okay. And another question is Bangalore, Malleshwaram sky is open because partially lockdown is open in Bangalore. I just want to ask.
Not yet, sir. All our sky centers are closed till May 17th.
Now we are unmuting Mr. Veluswamy.
Yeah, Varga.
I
am from Bangalore. Sir, is there any scientific reason that has been found out now how to avoid this corona by doing our all exercises, particularly this Kayakalpa yoga?
No, sir. No scientific study yet.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Professor, for patiently answering all the questions and sharing your insights and divine thoughts. It's time for us to say thanks. Let's, guys, all aspirants would request to come into Turiya state.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Professor Krishmurli Ishwar, be blessed by the divine. His good health, be blessed by the divine. His loving family, be blessed by the divine. His divine services, be blessed by the divine. We are happy to bring the following online programs live from Alia Temple of Consciousness tomorrow. Morning 6 a.m. exercise in Tamil, 7 a.m. 9 center meditation in Tamil, 7:30 9 center meditation in English, 11 o'clock tomorrow there will be a speech on Manadil Urudhi Vendum by Perasriyar Samathuvarani, Kovai. Evening 6 p.m. Turiyatita meditation in Tamil, 7:30 p.m. Turiyatita meditation in English, 7:55. We have speech in English on the topic Science of Seven Centers by Professor M.K. Janakiraman, Chennai. Please share the invite with all your friends and relatives. Let everyone take part in the spiritual journey and get benefited. At this juncture, we thank our beloved President Arulnidhi Padma Shri SKM Mailanandan for his leadership and guidance to us. This is Naresh from Alia World Community Service Center IT team. Be blessed by the divine. Stay safe, stay blessed. See you all tomorrow.